I think the conclusion of design or an ultimate fine-tuner stands. Given that fine-tuning in our experience is always the product of intelligence.
Right.
And given that the multiverse has not provided an explanation for the ultimate fine-tuning,
yet
the best explanation remains intelligent design.
You adjust any one of the variables and the whole universe doesn't exist, or the whole universe has expanded so fast it just blew apart, or it would collapse again on itself, or none of which leads to intelligent life on Earth as we understand it. And I think that argument has become so strong that they have to come up with something. And so then they're like, multiverses, there's more of them. We're just lucky.
Okay, so the next clip is about the multiverse. Do you want me to play that one?
Sure.
All right, let's play that one.
Like, what are your thoughts of this concept of multiple universes?
I love to talk about the multiverse.
Or infinite universes.
Yeah, I'm glad you raised it. Given that fine-tuning in our experience is always the product of intelligence.
Right.
Think of any system we would describe as finely tuned.
Right.
Then, and given that the multiverse has not provided an explanation for the ultimate fine-tuning,
yet
the best explanation remains intelligent design.
Okay, so that's just like a short clip of him saying, Rogan basically asking about the multiverse.
Yeah, and they go on with it, and it comes up a few more times, just sort of the ideas behind it.
So you probably have a take, and then I probably have a take, and
we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
All right. So my take on multiverse is this: I think that the fine-tuning data has become so strong because there are dozens of laws of physics, whether you're talking about the coefficient of gravity, how strong gravity pulls, whether you're talking about the nuclear forces that hold, atoms together, where, how strong or how weak they are, the speed of light, how far the sun is away from us, how far the moon is away from us, the size of our planet, the size of our sun, the fact that Jupiter's out there sweeping up all the asteroids so we don't just get bombarded all the time. This big giant thing with a really strong gravity field sort of cleans up the solar system for us. And
it's like our own Roomba.
Yeah, it kind of is actually in a lot of ways. And it just kind of goes on and on and on and on. The resonance of certain molecules, like what, the frequency at which they sort of jiggle has to be the same as the frequency of something else, or otherwise, this won't work and that won't work. And you start getting like, there's all these dials, dozens and dozens of them. And if any single one of them is adjusted like 0.3%, nothing works. Maybe there's still a universe, but all you have is hydrogen, because you can't have atomic like fusion to make more complicated things, or maybe there's nothing at all, or you adjust any one of the variables and the whole universe doesn't exist, or the whole universe has expanded so fast it just blew apart, or it would collapse again on itself, or none of which leads to intelligent life on Earth as we understand it. And I think that argument has become so strong that I think it was Hitchens who was asked, like, what's the strongest argument, on the deist side? And he was like, fine-tuning. He even fessed up to that. And I think the fine-tuning argument is so strong that there's, that whole thing of like, well, if you roll the dice enough times, you'll get the right thing. Well, the reality is we live in a universe that's like 1 in 100 billion chance to get all of those variables right so that it would be the right environment for us. It's so daunting. You've got, again, even skeptics who talk about, it seems like somebody monkeyed with all the variables. It seems like somebody set this up, they'll concede that. Like, it looks like, that argument has become so strong that if you still want to be a skeptic, then you have to posit a multiverse. There's lots of universes, and we just happen to be in the right one. We're just in the one that hit all the things right. There's all these billions of other universes where all the dials are different, and either there's no life, or there's whatever, or it's too hot, or it's too cold, or it's too this, or it's too that, or carbon doesn't work, or something that you can't have life. We're just in the right one. I don't know that anyone ever talked about a multiverse until fairly recently, in the last 100 years. And I think it's really just a response of skeptics to the fine-tuning argument. And I think what you're seeing is that as the science really shifts in our favor, the Big Bang is clearly in our favor. DNA is clearly in our favor, and on and on and on and on. The science is becoming, I think, in my opinion, and I'm subjective, heavily in our favor, that they have to come up with something. And so then they're like, multiverses, there's more of them. We're just lucky. And so, and now you're seeing it propagate itself throughout the culture. All of a sudden, there's movies about, Spider-Man in the multiverse, and the Guardians of the Galaxy in the multiverse, and
you're still left with, even if you want to believe in the multiverse, you just have to believe. You just have to get to the original matter being created from.
Yeah.
You still have materialism coming from.
Well, and a multiverse requires a universe generating machine, which in itself, that's God, by the way. The thing that makes universes, that's God. But you end up, they postulate that there's a thing out there that
makes universes,
multiverses, and they're all different. It changes the dials and shoots another one out. Well, it turns out mathematically that that was a real thing, that it has to be finely tuned to exacting specifications in order to do that. And so all you've done is just punt the problem down the road somewhere else, which doesn't make any sense at all. And this is all garbage. This is all garbage.
I agree. I mean, I don't, there's so many directions I could go with this, but the thing that it makes me think about as you really play out the multiverse hypothesis is that you ultimately end up that everything's meaningless. Because with an infinite amount of universes comes an infinite amount of realities, with an infinite amount of things, in which I've heard someone say, maybe it was you, Ross, say, well, what you're going to end up with is that, or maybe it was in this interview actually, where he says you'll just get a tree where when bark falls off of it, Shakespeare just happens to be written on the inside of the bark, you know, or every mathematical equation ends up just being chance. And it's well, because if you play it out to infinity, that's the only way it really works. And then you end up that everything is meaningless because it all is chance. In another universe, you didn't think about it. It just happened there. So therefore, you didn't ever really think about it.
All of us have baseline assumptions that we believe we can't prove. My fundamental belief about Christianity is that our faith is reasonable. That, there are some holes we can't totally close. But I think we get closer to closing all the holes than anyone else. And it's reasonable to assume trust in God, trust in Christ to finish out the bits and bobs that we can't quite wrap our heads around. Yeah. Whereas I don't think that's reasonable.
Right. That
there's a universe print stamping machine out there beyond the universe somewhere, just spitting out universe I. It doesn't make any sense, Yeah. So
no, I think that's true. All right.
That's just God. God makes universes. So you just postulated God. Congratulations. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, click like and subscribe. It really helps us. And if you really enjoyed it, go on over to our website, thelandofthebible.com, and become a supporter. It helps us generate more content and gives you access to our full library of video and Bible study content.